What is up, guys? It is Jack and welcome to a new video. Today it is a super nice day out, which is awesome, but I've got my drone right here, and a lot of you guys have been commenting on my recent drone footage and saying, oh my gosh, how do you get your drone footage to look like that? And I did a video about my normal camera and how I get my footage to look the way it does, but I thought I would do a similar one about my drone. So, if you can pardon the noise, this is how to make your drone footage look like this.
Back to reality.
Mavic Pro, but a lot of these tips will apply to whatever drone you're using. So for me, I just gotta take off this little clamp right here. So once this guy is unfolded, the first thing that you gotta do before you even turn it on is put in an ND filter, and that's actually tip number one. I've definitely talked about these guys before. In fact, I've talked about them a lot, but a really important thing is putting on the right filter. So today it's pretty sunny out, but it's not like no clouds in the sky summer. So I'm gonna be using ND4. And if it's a little bit too light, I can always put in a darker one. So we just put it on just like this, and you gotta try your best not to touch the actual ND filter. And just like this, it's on. So we're just gonna close this guy up and start by powering on the controller. And now the drone should power up and you'll see the gimbal do its little thing. Alright, and it seems to be working. We'll log into the DJI Go app, and then I'll show you guys tip number 2, which is something that a lot of people don't even know about, but it's something that you should definitely do to make your footage look on par with what you want, and that is calibrating the gimbal. So a lot of people think, oh, I can calibrate the gimbal, but when I don't do it, it doesn't really affect it, and most of the time it doesn't. But when you're flying and you can see the horizon line or anything that's supposed to be straight, and you don't calibrate the gimbal, sometimes it can just be a little bit off and tilted. And you'll see when you're looking at a horizon line that's tilted, it looks super unprofessional and not good. So calibrating the gimbal is a really good idea. So you're just gonna click on the ready to go button, and then you're gonna click calibrate right here where it says compass. We're gonna click start just like this, and it's gonna say to rotate your craft horizontally. So we'll just spin it around just like this. So it's gonna want me to calibrate it vertically. But there's still a few things you can do before you take off to really optimize the experience in your drone. And that's where we get into tip number 3, and that is optimizing your settings. The way you're gonna do that is you're just gonna click right here and make sure you're on manual settings. So the plan essentially is to try and keep your ISO as low as possible. So you can keep it at ISO 100, and since we're outside right now, we obviously can. And then you're just gonna want to adjust your shutter speed to whatever kind of looks the best. There's a little dial on the top. You never want to bring it below 60 if you're shooting at 30 frames per second, or 120 if you're shooting at 60. Because you never want your shutter speed to dip below twice your frame rate. And you probably never want your shutter speed above 800 as well, especially when you're on a moving drone like this, because then you'll start to see that rolling shutter effect. And that's what's nice about ND filters. And then we'll click on camera just like this, put the white balance on sunny. This is a pretty sunny day out. It's also kind of cloudy. I'm not sure which one I like better. So you can always go into custom and change it yourself. You're gonna want to make sure you're filming on 4K at 30 frames per second. And then for color, you're gonna want to shoot on D-Log. And the reason I like D-Log is because what it does is it essentially gets rid of all the colors in your shot. So your shot is really desaturated, which sounds bad, but it actually really helps with the dynamic range. And you can easily add in the saturation later, but you can't fix poor highlight roll-off in dynamic range. So it's really a good idea to be shooting on D-Log. So we click that right there, and finally you go into style, and I tend to keep my sharpness at least +1 because this camera is not very sharp, and I keep my contrast at -1, which helps with the dynamic range even more. So now that all the settings are optimized, it is time to take off. So just like this, you're gonna start recording, and you're gonna click take off. So we'll bring the drone high enough that you can't even hear it anymore. But now that we're in the air, it's time for tip 4. So essentially this tip is to keep your drone shots really steady, doing one thing. Sometimes the best drone shots could just be a simple bird's eye view, or going forward or going backward. If you're trying to do too many fancy things at once, it's not going to look good. So right now I'm just gonna back up just like this. So I've got a ton of room.
Hey Doc, you better back up. We don't have enough road to get up to 88.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
And there it goes right above me. It's flying up there, and I'm just going straight forward, and you can see this is a pretty nice shot. You want to keep it in your line of sight though, because it's actually illegal to keep it outside of line of sight. Crap, did you see that? It almost hit that tree. That's the nice thing about obstacle avoidance. Now we're gonna bring it up a little bit, and now you can kind of just fly around. Again, you want to keep it as precise as possible, either going straight forward or straight down or left, or even doing a nice point of interest shot spinning. You just don't want to make it too complicated, or else it's gonna get really hard to watch. you guys about. But as I said, you gotta be doing some serious fixing and editing to make D-Log look good. And that's where the color corrections come in. I use something called LUTs, which are essentially like really professional filters. You're so talented! So one of my favorites is called the M31 LUT. It's completely free. You can download it in the link in the description. You're also gonna need to download a LUT loader if you're using Final Cut Pro because it doesn't come in the default version, but it's all completely free. And I use it on a lot of my drone footage, and I also used it on this footage that you just saw. Certain LUTs work better on certain types of footage, but there are a lot of my favorites. I'll link one video in the description that actually has 10 of my favorite LUTs that someone else made, and that video has helped me out so much, and you guys could definitely use it as well. And that's kind of how you can pull out all of those colors. So definitely follow these tips because I definitely recommend them, and they're the things that I use whenever I fly a drone. And I hope to see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like. Also, comment down below what you did think, and I will see you guys next time. I'm Jack. Peace.